in. But what I want you to do is go ahead and open up the class kick. We're going to have some slides in there today that you can work on. So you're not logging in this time. You're just going to use this code. And then that way I can see your work. So Sapphire, yay, I see you in there. That's great. Thank you. Kiera, awesome. I can see you. Great. Izzy, I see you. Thank you. Yay, Sky, I can see you too. Awesome, awesome. Yep, I see you, Sky. Good job. Thank you. That's okay, Angel. While we're waiting for everyone to get logged in, for those of you that are just joining us, if you will go ahead and use the link in the room chat or this class code, I have some slides to show you, and I'm going to be able to go in there and work with you at the same time, just like I do on your writing assignments. So if you will get those loaded up. If anyone's having trouble, let me know. I only see 4 people so far. Oh, 5. Nevaeh, I see you in there. Yay. Micah, are you able to get in? Shania, Nani, are you able to get in? Oh, Shania, I see you. Thank you. Okay, Micah, I don't see. Oh, there you are. I see you. Okay, good deal. Well, let's go ahead and get started. So last week, we talked a lot about graphing linear equations. Okay, and so I want to go over with you some parts of the coordinate plane. Awesome, Nalani, I see you. Thank you. Because I think sometimes we get confused between when we say the word graph, we think of it as the entire coordinate plane. So we're going to start using coordinate plane to describe this whole entire thing. And when we say the word graph, we're specifically talking about the function that is graphed on the coordinate plane. Okay, so just a quick review. This entire thing is the coordinate plane. That's okay, Angel. If you want to keep trying, these next couple slides actually aren't on there, so you should be good. The code here, I can give you the link again. If you click on that link, it should take you right to it. Okay, so our coordinate plane is made up of 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1, that we use Roman numerals, but I'll put the numbers out here too. This is quadrant 1. So X values are positive and our Y values are positive. The way that we count the coordinate plane is we actually go counterclockwise. So over here on the left, this is going to be quadrant 2. Our X values are going to be negative and our Y values are positive. In the bottom left, we have quadrant 3. X values are still negative, and this time the Y values are negative. Awesome, Angel. Thank you. And then lastly, we have quadrant 4. So our X values are back to being positive, but we're below the X axis, so our Y values are going to be negative. All right, then we have 2 axes. So the one that runs left and right, that's going to be our X axis. Just like when we graph points, we go left and right first. So that's our X axis. The Y axis is going to go up and down. All right, I'm going to open the whiteboard up. Can y'all either circle for me? Angel, so that's a good question. X is on the bottom when we're counting slope. So when we do slope and we do rise over run, X is on the bottom. You're right. For an ordered pair, X comes first. So what I want you to do, does everyone else see a black screen or can y'all see this? Okay. Okay, awesome. So I gave whiteboard tools. If someone could circle the origin, or if you want to type the coordinates for the origin in the room chat, put the ordered pair for me. What is the origin? Good. Thank you, Sapphire. Good job. So the origin is the point 0, 0. We don't really need to connect them. That's okay. Thank you, though, Angel. All right, so we're just going to, all we want to look at right now is the origin, 0, 0. So on some of y'all's homework where you were graphing, let's say you had an equation y equals 2x. Remember, we want to graph that y-intercept first, but what if it's not listed? We're always going to assume, if it's not listed, that it's the point 0, 0. Okay, so we will be sure that our function goes through that point. Okay, and now I'm going to open the whiteboard again. Circle the point -3, 5. So remember, ordered pairs are x, then y. X, then y. So can someone circle for me? Oh, my graph numbers are goofed. That's annoying. Okay, this is supposed to be -3. They got a little shifted on me. Hey, Riley. Hey, Lanaya. Hey, Maisie. If you could get logged in to the, I'm going to post this link in the room chat. If you could open up this Class Kick slide deck, that would be great. We're going to work in Class Kick today. Good. Thank you, Shania. All right. So here's the point, -3, 5. All right. So now let's talk about, now that we know the parts of the coordinate plane, let's talk about slope. Okay. What is slope? Slope is the slant, or last week we called it the steepness of a line. Okay, so think about how steep is it? Okay, you can, or the slant. Okay. So like Angel was saying, slope is rise over run. Okay, so we're going to, on the top, have the change in y. So we're either going to go up or down. And then the change in x's, so left or right. So this one is kind of backwards from your ordered pair, okay? And we're going to always leave our slope as a fraction or an integer. An integer is just a counting number. The reason we want to leave it as a fraction is, let's say that my slope is 2/3. This 2/3 tells me that I'm going to go up 2 and right 3. If I were to change this to a decimal, which is 0.6 repeating, that doesn't tell me how many I'm rising or running. Okay, so we want to leave our slope as a fraction or an integer. If it's an integer and it's just a whole number, like the number 3, then we can assume that there is a 1 on the bottom. Okay. Lanaya, Liv, Riley, Maisie, were y'all able to get logged into Class Kick or able to get to the slide deck? I can repost the link. It's also in notes, but if you just click on this link, okay, perfect. Liv, if you will click on the link for Class Kick, there's a slide deck I put together for today, and then I'll be able to help you and see what you're graphing, okay? All right, so how to determine the slope when the line goes up. Thank you, Sky. So, number 1, count the number of units up to from the right point to the left. Okay, so what we're going to do, we always want to pick a point. We call them pretty points. Okay, they're whole numbers. So we're going to start on the left side. I'll do this in black. The left side of our graph. When I say graph, I'm talking about this pink straight line. This is the graph of our function. All right, so for this first one, all we're doing is counting the slope. okay? So I need to find another pretty point. So it needs to go cross directly where it's two whole numbers. We're going to use this point. I know you can't really see it because I have that last one on there, but that's the point we're going to use. You could also use this one, right? All right. No worries, Stormy. If you just want to open up the Class Kick slide deck. Okay, so what we're going to do, first things first, we're going to start at our far left point on our graph. Graph is the pink line. We're going to count how many times we need to go up to be even with this point. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to put that number on top of the fraction line. Now we're going to count how many units we're going to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Put that number under the fraction line. If we want to, we can simplify. So it would be 2/3. All right, let's try another one. While we're doing this, can y'all make sure that you're logged into Class Kick? Those of you that have just joined. Paulina, Maisie, Riley, are y'all able to get in? Okay, so let's go ahead and count our slope for this one. So we find our pretty point. We're going to find another pretty point. That's okay, no worries. We are going to count the number of units down. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That number goes on top. Now we're going to count the number of units to the right. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that should be a -6 because I went down. Then I went to the right 3. So my slope, close. Yes, Guy, I went to the right 3. Good. My slope is -6 divided by 3, which would be -2 or -2/1. Good. Okay, let's do one more together, and then I'm going to let you do one by yourself. So let's start on the left-hand side of our graph and find a pretty point. Let's use this one here. And then I'm going to move over to the right and find another pretty point. Let's use this one. So let's go ahead and count this slope. Do I have anybody that wants to raise their hand and write it out for me? Thank you, Angel. I'll give you whiteboard tools. There you go. Yeah, maybe, Stormy. It might be because you're on your phone. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, Angel, good job. So we started our far left pretty point. Okay. And what Angel's going to do is she went up 1, 2. So she put a +2 here. Then she counted over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the right. Is there a way I could simplify this slope? Yes. Good, Angel. Sorry, he. We're going to divide by 2 on the top and bottom. So then our slope would be 1/3. Okay, so now what I want you to do is go to slide number 1 in Class Kick. So you can leave this screen. You are going to write out the slope for me. And when you're done, go ahead and click the raise your hand button. Okay, good job. I will check on it. Good job, Angel. Okay, Izzy, perfect. That's a good starting point. Okay, good, Sky. Yay, good job, Kira.
Paulina, will you show which points you picked as your pretty points for your counting so then I can see where you're a little bit off?
All right, this is perfect. Yeah, you can put your hand on Sky. If you want to, go ahead and simplify that fraction, but you were exactly right. You did it right. Okay, Shania, good. Perfect. Now go ahead and simplify. Yep, you got it. Good job. Good, Sapphire. Those are good points. Perfect. Now just do your counting. Nevaeh, those are good points too. Good job. Now just do your counting. Good, Nalani. That was a good point. You can start with that one. All right. Micah, good. There you go. Now write it as your fraction. Okay, Liv, let's look at it. Perfect. If you want to simplify, Liv, what would it be if you simplified? Good. Good, Micah. There you go. Good. And then simplify. Very good. Perfect, Sky. Good job. Liv, let's look. Yep, that's perfect. Good job. Sapphire, perfect. Good, 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 good. Nevaeh, perfect. I think I had helpers on, so I think you can like check other people's work. I think. I'm not sure why. Okay, so now before we move on, is anyone still have any questions about how to count slope from a graph? Everybody okay? All right, so let's talk about how to calculate slope when we're given 2 points. Why is this backwards? Okay, so when we're given 2 points, we are first going to label x1 and y1, x2 and y2. What these points mean is that when we have x1 and y1, it means that it's the x from the first ordered pair and the y from the first ordered pair. That's all that those 1s and 2s mean. Okay, so we're going to have y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Let's take a look at what that looks like with actual numbers. All right, so let's cover some of this up so you're not overwhelmed. Find the slope for a line with the points -3, 4, and 7, -2 on it. All right, so let's go ahead. You, on your paper, you're just going to have your points here. And all you're going to do is decide. Okay, this is my first one. So that's going to be x1 and y1. The second one will be x2 and y2. Okay, now I'm going to substitute them into my formula and solve. My slope formula is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. The first thing I want you to do is draw your fraction line and your two subtraction signs. Sometimes when we start to get double negatives in there, we tend to leave out the subtraction sign from our formula. So let's make sure we've got that in there already. And we're going to fill in. So y2 is -2, so I'll put that right over here. Y1 is 4. X2 is 7. X1 is -3. And then there you can see we have that double negative. Use your calculator. You do not have to do this in your head. Put it in your calculator. -2 minus 4. What do I get when I do -2 minus 4? Anybody? Just type it in your calculator. Good. Thank you, Micah. -6. 7 minus -3. The double negative becomes plus. So it's like 7 plus 3. Remember, you can also type in 7, use the minus sign, then the negative sign, and 3. You can type it in your calculator. Good. 10. Okay. So I get -6 tenths. And I can go ahead and simplify that by dividing the top and bottom by 2. So my slope would be negative 3/5. Okay, let's try another one together. Find the slope of the line with the points 7, 5, and 3, -4. So first step, label x1 and y1, x2 and y2. I'm going to write out your slope formula for you. You will have your slope formula on your star reference sheet when you're taking the STAR test. So you don't have to totally memorize it. Okay, I've labeled x1 and y1. My next step, I'm going to draw my division sign, my fraction, and put my subtraction signs. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug in our numbers. We have y2 is -4, so -4 minus 5. Then we have 3 minus 7. Okay, let's go ahead and simplify. Angel, I understand what you're saying, and yes, you could. Although I'm looking at your class kick that you started. This point here, -2, -2, you actually plotted it as +2, -2. So that just kind of leaves room for another error. So it would be better if you would just trust that it's better to use the formula. So why don't you can leave this graph. If you want to regraph it correctly, that's great. But can you also do the slope formula on this one? Okay, so we have -4 minus 5. So we get -9. 3 minus 7. -4. What happens when I have a negative number divided by a negative number? Anybody? Yeah, good. It turns positive. So then our slope for this one would be 9/4. Exactly. Turns positive. Okay, so what I need you to do now is you are going to go to page 2 of your Class Kick slides, and you're going to use the slope formula to calculate slope. And then raise your hand for me when you're finished and you're ready for me to check it. Hey, Angel, I don't see your slope formula. If you need the slope formula, let me write it for you real quick on here. I should have given it to you. That's okay if you have bad handwriting. I promise I'll be able to figure it out. I didn't see an answer, Angel. I just saw your graph, but you had graphed the first point, -2, -2. You graphed that one incorrectly. So then your slope was incorrect.
Kira, you are so very close. Just go back and look at what I highlighted on yours. It's when you reduce where you had a little error.
Good, Liv. You got it set up correctly. Good. So, Micah, can you label your X1 and Y1 for me? Because you're forgetting your minus sign here, which changes your bottom number. No, you're right, Nalani. You're good. That top number's right. Good, Sapphire. You're really close. Okay, wait. Actually, I see your other negative sign. Okay, now can you simplify? That's right. Now simplify. Yeah, Liv. Good. Perfect.
Sky, do you need help getting started? Like, do you want me to write the formula down for you, babe?
Good, Angel. That's much better. Good. Yep, you got it. Okay, Izzy, good. And then go ahead and simplify. Lanaya, good. You've got the formula started. Good job.
Sky, can you label your points? Now I've got the formula there for you, babe. So label your 2 points, and I'll watch you plug in and see where you need help.
Good, Nalani. Now, what happens when you have a negative divided by a negative? Good. Sapphire, same thing. What happens when you have a negative divided by a negative? Good, Paulina. Thank you. Good job, guys. Y'all are doing awesome. Oh, you're fine. You can answer it. That's okay. You're doing great, Liv. Good job. Okay, I want to go ahead and go to the next set of slides. So now we're going to talk about how to write out the equation. What we want to do is get in the habit of writing equations in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. So m is going to be your slope. Remember, we're going to leave it as a fraction or an integer. And then b is your y-intercept. So if your y-intercept, for instance, is -3, you would have mx minus 3. Okay. All right. So for example, in this equation, y equals -1/2 x plus 4. My slope is going to be the number in front of x, including the sign. So my slope is -1/2. My y-intercept is going to be the number at the end. Not necessarily at the end. It's the number without an x. So what if they flipped it around on us? Like sometimes they like to be tricky on the STAR test. And they said 4 minus 1/2 x. Your slope and y-intercept are still going to stay the same. Okay, your y-intercept is still the number without the variable. I know, those STAR people. Sometimes they like to be super tricky. So what if this was my function? Y equals 2x. What would my slope be, and what would my y-intercept be? What do you think for slope? What's the slope here? Remember, slope is the number in front of x. So what would our slope be? Good, 2, exactly. What about the y-intercept? Do you see a y-intercept? Good, Liv, exactly. It would be like having this plus 0 at the end. So the y-intercept would be 0. So now that we can identify from a function, a linear function, what our slope is and what our y-intercept is, let's talk about how to graph these. This is kind of a slope-intercept song. If you guys know the Hokey Pokey, you would sing it like the Hokey Pokey. So, you know the Hokey Pokey Sky? Oh, you want me to sing it? Okay. I got to think here. Okay. You make the last number first. It's either up or down. You make the slope in 2 numbers or you'll look like a clown. Top one's up or down and the bottom's always right. You'd better do it well or you'll get a fright. I thought it said you'll get a fight. A fright, not a fight. A fright. Okay, so key things from this little song. The top one is going to be up or down. Thanks, guys. Thanks. And the bottom is always right. Okay. Oh, and the first part, it said you make the last number first. So we're going to plot our slope-intercept, our y-intercept first. So step 1. The last number is 4, or our y-intercept is 4. I'm going to plot 4 right here. This is the y-axis. You know, in the spring, I actually do sing the quadratic formula song for you. So maybe if you're lucky, another song will happen before spring. I'll have to find one. Okay, so y-intercept is at 4. Now I'm going to use my slope. So I have -1 over 2. So I'm going to go down 1. This is a negative. So I'm going to go down 1. And then bottom number is always right. So I'm going to the right 2. And I put my point right there. draw a line that goes through. So let's try this one. Graph the line y equals 2x minus 3. So step 1, the last number here is -3. We want to think of it as what's the y-intercept. It's normally the last number, but in the case it's not, then we want to just know we're going to graph the y-intercept first. Y-axis goes up and down. So I'm going to go to that -3 and put my point. For slope, the slope originally was only one number. It was 2x minus 3. So when that happens, we just put a 1 underneath because 2 divided by 1 is 2. Okay? So remember, your top number either goes up or down based on if it's positive or negative. This is positive, so it's going to go up 2. The bottom number is always right. So up 2 and right 1. And I'm going to put my point. Okay, I want you to try. You're going to do pages 3 and 4 in Class Kick. Okay, so raise your hand when you've done 3 and or 4. Slides 5 and 6 are just 2 more extra practice problems. So if you get through 3 and 4 pretty quickly, then you can try 5 and 6 as well.
Hey, Kira, if you could make sure that you really draw your points in there really clearly, that'll make it easier for us to check.
I did not realize these graphs were so small. Let me see if I can make them bigger. Maybe I cannot. Stormy, it is called, let's see. I didn't assign it to you in your normal portfolio. So this one is called Small Group Extra Help. Okay, so let's see. Angel. Okay,
you went up 6. Like Miss Smith, I don't know if you moved his graph a little bit.
I think I did, yes.
I can't move it, but can you move it back?
Yes, I believe I can.
He had the 1 point on the -1 on the y-axis. He for sure had that, but I need to explain to him.
I think I moved all of it because I was trying to make it bigger.
Oh.
So let me help you fix that. Did that work? No.
No, it needs to go over a little bit.
Okay.
Here, just leave it there because he needs to draw his again. Okay. Angel, remove your 2 red points and your black line and start over and count carefully this time. Thank you.
Okay, Lanaya, good. That's a good y-intercept. Good start. Yep.
Izzy, you had good points. You just need to connect the dots to actually draw your line.
Good, Micah. Now go ahead and connect your 2 points. Good job. Okay, so Nalani, go ahead. Will you plot your y-intercept first? Your y-intercept is the number without an x. Good, Nevaeh. Perfect.
Angel, put a point down at -1.
Nevaeh, if you want to go to slide 4. Good job. Okay, so Shania, your -1, you actually put your point at the x-intercept. So let's move it down to the y-intercept of -1. And then go ahead and count your slope again. Okay, so Sapphire, I see this point at -1. Will you go ahead and put a circle there so I can tell your points? B, Angel, is the y-intercept.
And if it's a negative y-intercept, then it needs to go. Then it needs to go in that negative spot on the y-axis, Angel.
Good, Sky. Perfect. If you want to try slide 4. Y.
Angel, it's a -1. The y-intercept is -1. So you have to put your point has to live at that value, which is a -1. You don't get to just change it into a +1. It's a -1 because of that negative in front of it. That minus sign treats it as
Hey,
a negative.
Nalani, come back to slide 3 for me. And I'm going to have you erase what you have drawn here. So let's do this one together. Nalani, are you there? Will you come back to slide 3? Thank you. Okay. So go ahead and erase what you have on your graph. The first thing that we want to graph is our y-intercept, which is -1. So we want to go on the y-axis, which goes up and down, and we're going to put a point right here at -1. Does that make sense? Okay, now we're going to use the slope to plot another point. So our slope is the number in front of x. So our slope is 5/3. So that means from your y-intercept, you're going to go up 5 and then to the right 3 and plot another point for me. Can you try that one?
Ms. Smith, will you talk that through with Sapphire as well on page 3?
Yes. Sapphire, are you there? Okay, so what I want you to do, okay, perfect. So you've got your y-intercept here at -1. Now we're going to go ahead and use our slope to plot another point. So our slope is 5/3. The 5 on the top is positive. So I'm going to go up 5 from this point that I just graphed. And then the bottom, we're going to move right. So we're going to go to the right 3. So can you count up 5 and to the right 3 and put another point? Like put it up like a circle so that I know exactly where you're putting it. Okay, Nalani, good. You counted up 5. Now from there, go to the right 3 and put your point down. Okay, Sky, let me check.
Hey, Kira.
That's
That
weird,
slope,
Lilith. Sorry.
Kira, that slope of a -3 is any whole number is always understood to be over a what? Anytime you have a slope that's a whole number, what is that denominator? What is that bottom number underneath the whole number?
Okay, Nalani, you're close. You actually went left 3, but we want to go to the right 3. So move it over here instead. And then your line would be through those 2 points. Go ahead and try, Nalani, try number 4. Sapphire, let's see how we're doing. Sapphire, are you able to, okay, so you went, so Sapphire, I think you're going down, but will you start at that point that I highlighted in yellow? Start at that point and count up 5 and then to the right 3. Okay, so Nevaeh, your slope is -3, which is the same thing as -3/1. Remember, our bottom number is always going to go right. So what happened was you went down 3, which is perfect, but then you actually went left 1. So you turned that slope into a +3. So make sure when you do this, you're going to go down 3 and right 1. Okay, so try that again. All right, guys, if you want to finish up, we'll give you some feedback. That's all that we have time for today. If this is now making more sense to you, hopefully it is. If you want to go back and make some changes to your 3.03 homework in Class Kick, This is exactly what it was over. It was graphing. Okay. Angel, let me look. Did I do it? Okay, so you're at -1. Good. And you went 1. Okay, almost. So, Angel, the only thing was you went up 3 and right 1. But if you look here, your slope is actually -3. Mm-hmm.
Liv, are you maybe using, like, accidentally clicked on the text tool instead of the pen tool up at the top of yours? I don't know why else you would be having trouble with that slide.
There you go. That's good, Angel. Good job. Liv, you can't go to, can you try slide number 6? Because that would be another one that's pretty similar. Yeah, Stormy, I can. Do you want me to email it to you or send it to you? Why don't I email it to you and then you can do it from a computer? Sure thing. All right, guys. Good job today. Thank you so much. I will see you